This is the biggest crisis the Krusty Krab has ever suffered. The Krusty Krab is surrounded by buses, and out of the buses came countless anchovies. They were clamoring for Krabby Patties. SpongeBob hadn't even come to work at the Krusty Krab yet. His arrival saved the Krusty Krab, and it's worth noting, this is the first animated episode of SpongeBob SquarePants to be released since 1999. Back then, Bikini Bottom was called Cooter's Village, and the Pineapple House wasn't as mellow as it is now. The familiar sound of the alarm clock. For SpongeBob, today is a very important day. He was going to apply for a job as a chef at the Krusty Krab. Before that, he's going to have a quick workout. The doll is less than 2.5 pounds. SpongeBob is struggling to lift it. He's getting dehydrated. That was a good workout. Followed by his familiar mantra. Say 6 times, I'm ready. By this time, Patrick was already SpongeBob's best friend, and it's been SpongeBob's dream to work at the Krusty Krab for years. SpongeBob was still not confident, but Patrick gave him great confidence. When Squidward saw SpongeBob applying for the job, he panicked and tried to tell Mr. Krabs, but it was too late. SpongeBob came in with confidence, but he accidentally tripped over a nail. All he had to do was stop, but he kept bouncing up and down. This operation is confusing to both of them. When he stops, he asks when he's going to start work. Mr. Krabs answered the sponge slowly. He doesn't look like he fits the bill. SpongeBob didn't want to give up. He asked Mr. Krabs to ask Squidward. He can vouch for me. Squidward pulled Mr. Krabs aside and said he couldn't vouch for SpongeBob. Since Squidward said so, Mr. Krabs decided to give a difficult question to persuade SpongeBob to leave. SpongeBob took out his notebook to write down the question, but Mr. Krabs asked him to find a flying spatula. If he can't find it, he shouldn't come back. SpongeBob thought it wasn't that difficult. He happily went to look for it. Mr. Krabs thought they would never see SpongeBob again. Squidward thought it was great, said no one would ever find that thing. As they kept laughing, a couple of buses came from a distance. They surrounded the Krusty Krab. The huge commotion startled Mr. Krabs. The air seemed to be filled with an indescribable smell at the moment. As a result, a large number of anchovies swarmed into the Krusty Krab. They're all here for the Krabby Patty. Such a huge number. Squidward can't cope with it. The anchovy army is in an uproar. The whole Krabby Patty is trembling. Mr. Krabs and his men are struggling to survive in the sea of fish. The situation is very critical. Meanwhile, SpongeBob is at the shop buying a flying spatula. He has no idea what's going on in the Krusty Krab. There's no way back. They're cornered on a pole. They feel like they're really screwed this time. And that's when it happened. SpongeBob came to the rescue with his flying spatula. He flew over a sea of anchovies into the kitchen. One by one, the meatloaf is put on the frying pan, and the other ingredients are taken care of. It's all done in a flash. It's so efficient and hygienic. One by one, the crab cakes are freshly baked. After the anchovies have had their fill, the anchovy finally leaves the Krabby Patty. The crisis was easily solved. Little Sponge was naturally accepted.